Today's video is brought to you by petflow.com. I know a lot of you have gotten new puppies lately, which is why I want to take some time to answer some of the questions that many of you have. A bit of news here that I'm excited about. We recently surpassed 200,000 subscribers. Earlier in the year, we surpassed 100,000. In fact, YouTube sent me that plaque right there, which I'm very proud of. I also want to thank petflow.com for being a loyal sponsor of the dog training revolution for over a year now. Petflow gives you the freedom to have your dog food shipped directly to your front door in any time frame that you want. For example, we have 4 dogs, so obviously I like to have our dog food shipped pretty frequently, every couple of weeks as a matter of fact. But you can choose to have your food shipped to you every 3 weeks or every 6 weeks, anything up to every 16 weeks, which gives you a lot of flexibility to customize how often you want your food to come to your door. Their prices are great. Petflow even has the harder to find organic and holistic foods. There's no need to drive across town just to get your dog food anymore, nor do you have to worry about picking up those heavy bags. And when you do sign up for auto shipping of your dog food, enter code ZACH20, you'll get 20% off of your first purchase, and of course you can cancel that at any time. Or if you just want to get your feet wet, try out Petflow, see if they're right for you. Enter code ZACHGEORGE15 when you check out, and you'll get 15% off of your first order. Let's take our first question. This comes from YouTuber The Solid Drawing, who asks, can you teach older dogs? In short, yes. Whoever said you can't teach an old dog new tricks obviously wasn't a dog trainer, and if they were, they weren't very good, because they would know better than that. In the same way that an older person can learn how to play a piano, how to read, how to do algebra, or any of those tasks typically common to younger people, so too can a dog learn basic concepts at any age, and advanced tricks as well. So yeah, this is a huge frustrating myth, I think, for a lot of my colleagues out there who have to deal with this stereotype. Now, the advantages to teaching an older dog are many, but I'll give you an example of a couple. Number one, you don't have to deal with a lot of the lack of focus that really young puppies have. You have a dog that's experienced the world, who has a clue about many things. Of course, you also have a lot of dogs who are a little bit older who are pretty savvy, and they kind of know when you mean it and when you don't, and they'll call your bluff if they know you're not the very consistent type of trainer, which is a good time to remind you that one of the most important factors if you want a dog that listens to you is to be very, very consistent. If your dog doesn't listen to you the first time, you need to take that time to stop what you're doing, work with them, and show them exactly what you mean and that you expect them to do it. But you want to find every opportunity to reward them and communicate to them very genuinely that you appreciate it when they comply. That's important. It's easy to get frustrated, but frustration has no place in teaching a dog if you hope to get fast results. But that's a fantastic question. We're gonna move on to our next one now. This comes from Kitty Gal on YouTube, who asks, my 1-year-old dog definitely knows how to come when called, but only comes when I have a treat. If he sees something more interesting, then he won't come. You know, this makes total sense. In fact, all dogs go through this basically. Just as a quick reminder, remember, if you have a young puppy, they're likely to come to you very easily, and once they hit the age of about 5 months, that's when they start to slowly become less consistent with coming back to you. So if you do have a young puppy, please remember that. It's vital that you practice come when called very often in a huge variety of settings, circumstances, and environments before you expect your dog to listen to you without treats. Don't be in a rush to get your dog off of treats. Now, I will have a video in the description that will help you teach your dog how to listen without treats, but you got to pay your dues first. You're not entitled to a well-trained dog that comes to you every time in a huge variety of circumstances right off the bat. In fact, I would say 3 months to 6 months is a good rule of thumb before you start taking come when called to the next level. For some dogs, even up to a year of training. If your dog finds something that they're more interested in and they won't come to you, you have 2 options. The first option you should try is trying to be more exciting than that thing. Now, if you're not the type of person who gets all loud and crazy and goofy like me, you might try using something like a squeaky toy to get your dog's attention. Try and be a little animated. Dogs really respond to movement a lot, and come when called is one of those things that you can teach really quickly if you're prepared to have some energy, get exciting, and be worth coming to. Now, if this doesn't work and you're making a lot of movement, you're squeaking the toy, then your next step is, of course, to go and get them. Now, I hear a lot of you out there saying, but my dog gets too far away and they're halfway down the block and I can't get to them. What do I do? It's an unacceptable mistake to allow your dog to be in an uncontrolled setting when you have not spent adequate time training come when called. You don't wait for your dog to run out the door to then practice teaching your dog to come to you. I hope that helps, Kitty Gal, but really good question. This question comes from Jason on YouTube. What do I do until my dog learns that the crate is okay? So what I'm guessing is happening, because I get this question a fair amount, and usually it'll go something like, you know, I just got a new puppy. When I go to bed at night, I put him in the crate and he starts crying and he won't let me sleep. Now, not every dog is going to be comfortable with the crate, but if you put in the time, you'll increase the odds that your dog will be comfortable with a crate. Never should your dog not enjoy going into the crate voluntarily. Now, if your dog really doesn't like the crate, you need to take a step back on your training, try and reintroduce the crate, throw tiny pieces of real meat in there, turkey, chicken, something like that, to get them to go in voluntarily. Be very patient. This isn't something you do in 5 minutes. I like to allow a good 1 to 2 weeks to really introduce the crate. So what do you do in the meantime while you're getting them used to the crate? That's an excellent question. We have a couple of options. You know, something I used to do with my dogs when they were puppies was I would have them on a leash and harness and kind of tie them to the bedpost, making sure it's very safe, making sure they don't have a chance of getting hung up on anything. And that will at least keep them close to you, and they're less likely to do their business because they still are in a contained environment and they still have the privilege of being near you. Some other options you might have are to put them in something like a bathroom, a laundry room. If you've tried all this and you've really made a good faith effort and worked on this for weeks and your dog is like, I really don't like being in a crate, then you may have a dog with separation anxiety. And if that's the case, I will have a video in the description that will give you some tips on that. But let's take our next question. This comes from Diamond. Diamond says, I have a 3-month-old puppy. He goes on puppy pads, but not outside. Why? Dogs tend to develop preferences to textures. Now, ideally, most of us want our dogs to go on grass because that's the most convenient thing. But you know, there's some common old-fashioned ways of dealing with potty training, whether it be on puppy pads or newspaper, and these things have their place. For example, if you live in a high-rise apartment or it's extremely difficult to let your young puppy out hourly, because that's what you should do. Every hour is what I recommend when you're doing potty training. Even if they don't go, it's okay, because you just want to get them in the habit of going out there and being there to really let them know that you love it when they go outside, when they ultimately do. Pretty time intensive, but worth it if you ever want to get your dog potty trained. But the thing about pads is it's a bit confusing to them. If you're in a house and you have a yard, just bypass that altogether and let them out regularly and routinely, provided you're in a position to spend time with your new dog. That is the better answer. That way you get your dog used to going on grass rather than used to going on a puppy pad. Does that make sense? Now, if you are the type of person who is a little bit busy and you're not able to let your dog out every 1 to 2 hours, it is gonna set your potty training back a little bit, and it is gonna take longer. That's just the price you have to pay if you're not able to spend the ideal amount of time with them, but that's okay. Consider having someone come over to let your dog out, or you come home during lunch, or maybe another family member can let them out and spend some time with them during the day. It can take months to potty train a dog. You're not out of the woods anytime soon if you've got a new puppy in particular. It's also common when you change environments on a dog, say you're letting them stay at a relative's house or you move or something like that. Very common to see relapses because dogs don't immediately realize, oh, this is my home now. See, because dogs generally don't like to do their business in a place they live, but just because they live in the living room doesn't mean they understand that upstairs or the bathroom or the spare bedroom isn't acceptable either. It takes time for them to generalize that larger area. So start small, gradually increase the area they have access to, and you should be in good shape. That was more of a detailed answer than I had planned on giving, but I hope I haven't confused you. If you're dealing with potty training or a lot of the issues we talked about today, I recommend that you give my puppy playlist a look, or my dog training playlist. It'll show you how to teach your dog the basics in order. I'm always updating it. If you like videos like this and you believe very strongly in raising the standards in dog training and you want to help us do even better videos, consider making a monthly contribution to our Patreon campaign. I'll have a link in the description. With those funds, you enable us to go on location, actually work with dogs and people who are new to the tasks they're learning. So I think there's a lot of value in that. And another Another great way that you can help support our content without spending any extra money at all is to simply change the way you buy dog food. Go to petflow.com/ZachGeorge, select your food, select how often you want it delivered, and you're done. Don't forget to subscribe so you see all of my future videos. Click thumbs up, and I can't tell you how optimistic and excited I am about the content we have coming forward in the next several months. Stay tuned, and we'll see you guys in the next video.